And now we are on item number 6.
Item number 6 is the proclamation recognizing Elder Abuse Awareness Day. Holly Williams, Commissioner, Board of County Commissioners.
Commissioner Williams.
And I know we have a number of people coming down to speak as well. Proclamation recognizing Elder Abuse Awareness Day 2024. Whereas June 15th has been designated as World Elder Abuse Awareness Day to acknowledge the physical, emotional, and financial abuse of older adults. And whereas the El Paso County Board of Commissioners, the Department of Human Services, and our community partners recognize that senior citizens are valued members of our society. And whereas abuse, neglect, and exploitation inflicted on the vulnerable aging population is an ever-increasing challenge that crosses all socioeconomic boundaries. And whereas El Paso County is designated by the state of Colorado as an alternative response pilot county, which aims to further enhance family-centered and individualized services, strengthening the support systems of those who are at risk for or who are experiencing neglect and abuse, as well as driving improvements for the entire state. And whereas combating mistreatment of older adults will improve the quality of life for all senior citizens in El Paso County and will allow them to live as independently as possible and contribute to the life and vibrancy of our county. And whereas it is with thanks to community partners for their contributions in preventing abuse, neglect, and exploitation before it happens by developing community-based prevention, awareness, education, and training programs. Now, therefore, the Board of El Paso County Commissioners hereby recognizes June 15th, 2024 as Elder Abuse Awareness Day in El Paso County and urges all El Paso County citizens to join in celebrating the many and varied contributions and accomplishments of our older residents on this day and throughout the month of June. Done this 11th day of June 2024 at Colorado Springs, Colorado, the Board of County Commissioners of El Paso County, Colorado, Cami Bremer, Chair, Carrie Geithner, Vice Chair, Lojinos Gonzalez, Jr., Member, Stan Vanderwerf, Member, Holly Williams, Member, and attested to by the Clerk and Recorder, Steve Schleicher.
Second.
That has been moved and seconded. Thank you, Commissioner Williams. I know we have a lot of people here making sure that this proclamation gets the attention that it deserves today. We'll start with our El Paso County Sheriff. Please introduce yourself.
There we go. My team and I are honored to bring awareness to this extremely worthy topic, considering 1 in every 10 adults over the age of 60 falls victim to abuse on an annual basis, whether it be financial, sexual, physical, psychological, or caregiver neglect. Elder abuse is a silent epidemic, often hidden behind closed doors, leaving victims to suffer in silence. As your sheriff, I have prioritized reducing the number of victims in our community and holding criminals accountable to the fullest extent of the law. Unfortunately, it's estimated only 1 in 24 crimes against seniors is reported. I'm going to repeat that. Only 1 in 24 is reported. Today, I've brought an amazing team of investigators who work tirelessly to secure justice for our elderly population, to educate families and senior citizens as to how to prevent many of the types of abuse I mentioned. Commissioners, it is my pleasure to introduce Lieutenant Chris Klug, Sergeant Vincent Sapp, Detective Marissa Williams, and Detective Tamara Tadlock, who will provide insight into my office's ongoing efforts through investigation, education, and advocacy to protect our elderly mothers, fathers, grandparents, friends, neighbors, from predators at home and abroad. After their presentation, we have 2 of our amazing volunteers, Al Brown and Bill Nottingham, to present some data on crimes against seniors in El Paso County. I introduce Detective Tamara Tadlock.
Thank you, Sheriff Roybal, and thank you, Board of County Commissioners. They're bringing up a slideshow here for us. Right, wonderful. So I'm excited to share with you today a new educational initiative that the Sheriff's Office is going to be doing called SAFE, Seniors Against Financial Exploitation. I'd like to explain what elder fraud looks like and what we have seen. Elder fraud refers to the exploitation of older adults, usually through financial scams or some type of manipulation. A lot of times, elders are targeted because they may be more vulnerable due to cognitive decline, they might be socially isolated, or they just have a general desire to be helpful. This has a huge impact on our community. A lot of our elders are already struggling with limited financial resources. So then when they experience a scam, they have even less resources and nothing to live on. I want to share some common scams that we have seen targeting elder adults. The first one is the grandparent scam. A suspect will contact an elderly person and tell them that their grandson or granddaughter is in jail and they have to pay bond immediately. So the elder is panicked and they send money to the suspect. It goes directly into the suspect's pocket. Another scam is the jury duty scam. An elder may be contacted by a suspect that will tell them that they missed jury duty and there's a warrant for their arrest. They have to pay their bond immediately or they may end up going to jail. And the last one I want to share today is the investment fraud scam. Scammers will contact our elders with a very unrealistic investment opportunity. And a lot of times it involves cryptocurrency, something that most of us, including our elders, are not very familiar with, and they get trapped into sending money. How can we protect ourselves? And how can we protect our loved ones from these scams? We have to be very cautious of unsolicited offers, which basically means anybody that contacts you. Make sure you verify charities and investments. Reach out to trusted financial advisors. Involve your loved ones. Involve family members. Involve people that you trust. Get a second opinion. And some additional tips. Never give anyone your financial information over the phone or online. A lot of times these scammers want our victims to stay on the phone with them while they go to the bank and they overhear all of their account information. Don't send people you don't know money. Never open suspicious emails and never open or click on pop-up ads. Monitor bank and credit card accounts, and you can also set your accounts up for fraud alerts. Use strong passwords and change those passwords regularly. Shred old financial documents instead of throwing them in the trash. And if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. There are some warning signs that I want to let you all know about. Sometimes there are sudden changes in a loved one's behavior or spending habits. Sometimes when our loved ones have been more involved, they may transition to being more isolated and wanting to be by themselves more. And lastly, they might be reluctant to discuss finances, and that would definitely be a warning sign. What can we do when this happens? First of all, encourage your loved ones to report it immediately to their local law enforcement. And there's also a phone number on the slide for the National Elder Fraud Hotline. Seek support from trusted sources. Reach out to family members, financial advisors, elder care organizations for assistance. And when we come across cases such as these, we contact Adult Protective Services. And stay educated. We try to put information out as often as we can. So look for our posts on Facebook and in the news. Thank you for your time, and I want to leave it open to some questions.
Do we have any questions? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good morning. Thanks for being here. Please introduce yourself, and thanks for being a part of the proclamation today.
Ms. Bremer, commissioners, guests, sheriff. My name is Al Brown. I'm a volunteer with the El Paso County Sheriff's Office. The proclamation that we're going to hear is very important. It calls our attention to the many of us senior citizens who are crime victims. Thank you for taking the time to do this. The Sheriff's Office collects data about how senior citizens are put upon, are victimized. Our deputies respond to 1 or 2 or 3 calls every day about our seniors being put upon. The number 1 crime is theft. People steal our cars, our bicycles, our jewelry, our money. 40% of the calls are people stealing from us. Fraud and domestic violence also fall into this category, are also important. The metric that is most disturbing to me concerns who is picking on us seniors. The deputy reports show that in over 30% of the calls, the bad guy is somebody that I know. It's a neighbor, an employer, a family member, a caregiver. People who I should be able to trust are often not trustworthy. My colleague, Bill Nottingham, and I represent the Sheriff's Office at the Pikes Peak Elder Abuse Coalition. We meet monthly with 15 to 20 local organizations who are concerned about elder abuse. Silver Key hosts our meetings. Adult Protective Services and Area Agency on Aging are there. We talk about crime and housing and guardianships and more. We learn what is going on in our community and what resources are available. I'm pleased that I can participate in this organization, and I know that each of you would be welcome at our meetings. Finally, elder abuse is this big. Law enforcement sees this section. APS sees this section. Springs Rescue sees another section. By recognizing Elder Abuse Awareness Day, we can see the big picture. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you, Mr. Brown, and thank you for volunteering in a critical office to both of you. Okay.
Thanks again, commissioners, for helping us get the word out in this important topic, protecting our seniors. The scams, you think by now everybody knows about it, nobody falls from it, yet people continually do. Just last week, I received a call from a local elected official whose mother received a scam claiming that their son is in my jail. Another one, 2 calls, and that she missed jury duty and has to pay my office money. They went so far as to using a real name from my staff. So they go to great lengths to try to deceive our community and our elderly. Do not fall from it. My office will never contact a citizen and threaten and ask for money. It's never going to happen, yet people do fall for this.
Thank you, Sheriff. Well, thank you very much for being here to represent the law enforcement side and the prevention of the criminal acts side, particularly financial fraud. We also have today here, as Mr. Brown so eloquently said, everybody has a piece of this. And today, I believe here we have some of our Department of Human Services staff ready to speak and share another segment of why this is so important.
Thank you, Commissioners. Good morning. My name is Jasenia Torres. I'm the Director of Adult and Family Services with the Department of Human Services. I wanted to introduce to you this morning Mr. Eric Bidwell, the current manager of the Adult Protective Services, to speak.
Good morning. This year, I want to again thank the board and county leadership for your ongoing commitment to what we do to protect and assist at-risk adults within our community. You continue to recognize the importance of human services and support DHS staff. We're honored to represent the county through our connection with clients and community partners, as we've already heard from some. Last year, I talked a bit about my own grandfather and the experiences that I'd had with him over the previous year. By way of an update, I wanted to relay today that he's doing well and has successfully transitioned from his home into an assisted living and then into a nursing facility, even while dealing with the bleak diagnosis of Parkinson's. The last couple years have taught me a lot about empathy and humility and the importance of every life. This has come full circle for me, given my history and career in the adult protection world. Adult Protective Services is an entity with a tremendous amount of responsibility. We are to investigate cases of abuse or neglect while supporting clients through the implementation of services. El Paso County APS continues to do these things with a high level of excellence. However, I must also mention that the Department of Human Services can only continue to make these accomplishments through the strong supports we have with the Colorado Springs Police Department, the Sheriff's Department, the Pikes Peak Elder Abuse Coalition, the Pikes Peak Elder Justice Center, the Area Agency on Aging, PACE, Silver Key, senior centers, and a myriad of nursing facilities and home care agencies. Without these partner organizations, we could not begin to accomplish the sometimes daunting tasks set before us. Anyone can make a report if they have concerns of abuse and neglect involving an at-risk adult. Someone does not need to be a mandated reporter. Immediate concerns of abuse or neglect should be reported to law enforcement, as law enforcement or EMS may be better prepared to handle those emergency or immediate threats. Reports can also be made to the DHS Adult Abuse and Neglect Intake Line that is monitored between the hours of 8 a.m. and 5 p.m., Monday through Friday, and closed on holidays. That number is 719-444-5755. This number can also be shared if someone needs to be connected to resources. In closing, I want to reiterate that El Paso County leadership has a strong history of being committed to the aged adults within our community. Today and every day, we are committed to improving the quality of life for our most vulnerable population groups. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And to our entire Department of Human Services team and leadership, thank you for being a part of this today, and thank you for the work that you do every single day. Are there any other members of the public, community members wishing to speak today? Please come down and introduce yourself. Good morning.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Katie Fuller. I'm one of the supervisors for Adult Protective Services. I was first introduced to APS in 2016 when I signed up to be an intern for the agency. It took 2 weeks for me to decide this is where I wanted to be and this is the population that I wanted to serve. With my time at APS, I have seen new programs develop, such as the Pikes Peak Elder Justice Center. Devin and his team have also got a guardianship program going where they help teach professionals and family members on guardianship tasks as well to get them certified. We have also, within the Pikes Peak Elder Justice Center, we started an MDT meeting, which allows a group of community members to come together. We discuss difficult cases, different outcomes, and things that we can do to help those people. I have worked with several people over the years, and one of the main things that always remains consistent is the empathy and compassion that our team, as well as our community partners, have for our at-risk population. I personally feel that we are the best county for adult protective services. El Paso County does have a lot to offer our at-risk population, and I don't think that goes unseen within the community. I wanted to thank the commissioners for the recognition of Elder Abuse Awareness Day, as well as the APS staff sitting behind me in their purple and glory, who have worked hard every day to ensure that our at-risk population is safe and having the best quality of life possible. I thank you all for your time here today.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak today? Any community partners? Okay, I know we have several here in the room. Anyone online? Okay. With that, I will bring it up here for comments. Commissioner Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just want to thank everybody for coming out today to highlight this, something that we should be doing it every day, every year. But we don't need to highlight it every now and then just to remind people of all the things that are going on out there. We need to always protect the most vulnerable in our community, and so this is a good example of how we're striving to do that and to do better at that. Did want to highlight a lot of people here are in their purple shirts today. I'm wearing the purple tie today to highlight this noteworthy support to our elders, and so I just wanted to thank everybody. I did see some partners, they didn't want to come out and speak. I do see Silver Key out there, and then at the county level, I know we do participate, of course, with the agency, area agency on aging, and a lot of other strong partners together, but I did see somebody up there, and I wanted to highlight that they are here as well, participating, even if they didn't want to speak. And so again, thank you for all this, and we want to make sure that the public highlights this, notes it, and let's protect our elders.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. And I'd like to thank everybody that's also involved in this. I really believe taking care of our seniors and helping them out, or helping family members to help their seniors, it's really a calling. It's really a passion. Many of us have been there in our own families. I know that I have with my mom, which ultimately ended up in a good place with regard to her being in an assisted living center, and she's very happy there today. So that everybody's got a story about this in their family somehow, some way. And I think, if I understand correctly, the theme for Elder Abuse Awareness Day this year is about helping older people in emergencies. I think that's also really, really important. Sometimes older folks might just not be watching television or have the radio on, might not even know there's an emergency in the area. And so if you do have a senior in your neighborhood that might have some mobility problems, it's important to get to know them and just be ready to help them while you're also evacuating your own family if there's a need to evacuate. But just get to know them and make sure that there's a way for them as well. And that's just about neighbors helping neighbors is really an important thing. I appreciate the phone number you gave, 1-833-FRAUD-11. That is for people that believe they see some type of elder abuse. It's important to report those things and have a proper investigation take place to determine if there was any elder abuse. And I also want to talk briefly about the Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments, because they also have an area agency on aging that provides an enormous number of services, has some great resources for seniors or for families that are supporting seniors. The great news about that is we do have a lot of resources in the community, so long as you know where they are and can take advantage of them. And I personally want to thank the Department of Human Services, our Adult Protective Services office, for the work that you do every single day, the dedication you have and the passion you have. Sometimes it's a joyous moment because you're really helping someone out, and sometimes it's a little bit tougher. But you're always there and you're always working to help our seniors in our community, and I just am grateful for that. And to Lahinos' comments, I wore a purple shirt. So purple shirt today. All right. Thank you very much, and those are my comments.
When you can get all the commissioners to dress up, we're paying attention to your issues. Commissioner Geithner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you all for being here today. Really appreciate that we have been doing this proclamation for some time. Really appreciate the sheriff joining us this year and adding that component and helping us all to recognize those signs from that perspective. I think sometimes we think a lot about when we hear elder abuse, we think about the physical, we think about that side of things, but it's important for us all to be aware of how much of that is financial as well. So I really appreciate that addition this year. I think one of the things that I have talked about over the years as we've done this and heard from different organizations is how much I think things have changed in our society around how we think about our seniors. When I was growing up, I was taught to honor our elders and to pay particular attention to their needs, help out. And that was just a part of what it meant to be a productive member of society, a good neighbor. Anytime we had elderly neighbors that needed a little bit of help, whether it was weather related or just they had something going on or were struggling to clean up their yard. My siblings and I were sent out to help, and we were taught this is what you do because we'll all be there someday. And I think that has started to change a little bit in our community, and I find that sad. I'm grateful for things like this, but I think not only should we be looking out for that abuse, but let's help them before they get there. To some of the comments, let's be neighborly, let's reach out and make sure, especially at a time where we have so many people who do not live close to families. We live in a very transient world these days. In particular, a lot of our military community as well. We don't always all have family close by, and I think it's an important thing for us all to focus on so that we can best protect our seniors and before we get to a place where we are helping them through that problem. Also want to thank Sheriff Roble for, in particular, helping out and being personally there to answer those questions, because I know that I reached out to him with connecting to him with someone in our community who was experiencing one of these scams and needed some confirmation and confidence that that it was a scam and that they were didn't need to respond to that. So really appreciate that. Appreciate you all for everything that you do. It is so important and critical to our community.
Thank you, Commissioner. And I'll let Commissioner Williams wrap us up with comments after mine. You heard us speaking last week potentially about the greatest generation as we celebrated an anniversary of D-Day. And there's the greatest generation and many thereafter. And today, you see us all wearing purple. You're all filling the auditorium with purple. And purple is the color of royalty. And I would like to be able to treat all of our seniors, regardless of what situations they find themselves in, where they came from, or any background, treating them like royalty. And I'm just so grateful that that we have staff and law enforcement that knows that, sees that, and does treat our elders with royalty and respect. So, it's a bit of an emotional issue, I think, for me as well, and I know it is for several of us up here. But thank you for allowing us to bring attention to this. This is why we do it. I've heard some new information today too. The 1 in 24 cases are actually reported. And that is something hopefully we can help with by talking about this, not only on this day next week, but all the time and through this proclamation and other means, and having our elected officials ready to do that as well. Sheriff Roybal, thank you, is huge. And then Mr. Brown shared a statistic about 30%. 30% are known to the victim, that is also scary and gets back to Commissioner Geithner's point about taking care of and being aware of those around us and those that we come in contact with. So this board takes it very seriously. All of you who have chosen this as a career take it very seriously. Thank you. And this is, I'm so glad we could do this. I'm kind of at a loss for words, and I usually share a personal story here, and I'm just not going to do that today. But please know that this is an important issue to our entire community, and that's why we do these proclamations. With that, Commissioner Williams.
Thank you. I always do this because mine is a personal story, and if you never think it can happen to you, you're wrong. So my father grew up in the Depression. He thought the Sunday treat for dinner was potato soup. Frequently, that's all they had with whatever vegetables they could find. My mother grew up very poor. Her dad got cancer in high school, and they lived off the eggs that my grandmother could sell. And a couple months before my grandfather died, all of the kids were essentially starving in that household. It was a very sad situation. So my dad became a successful engineer, built up a hugely successful business. My mom was the stay-at-home mom who took care of everything, and we all thought at some point, we never thought mom could not stop taking care of us. We all thought at some point we might at least get a little bit of inheritance, and all four of us got nothing. She became isolated. She actually fell for every lottery scam out there. She would withhold finances. She was positive that if she just paid another $5,000 in taxes, that Johnny was going to drive up in a new car with $1 million check. And up until the day she died, we never could convince her that she hadn't won the foreign lottery. And so my dad, who came into this world a very poor man, died a very poor man. And I just tell that story because the grief and the anguish we went through in our family, I try telling my story a couple times to people, and they say, oh, that would never happen to us. It does, whether it's your parents who are writing $25 checks out to every nonprofit who asks. I had a friend who opened her parents' checkbook, and it was pages on pages on pages of $25 checks to nonprofits. Or whether it's someone who gives away all their money, resulting in a very nasty divorce in the family, and someone has to take care of their parent in old age who doesn't have anyone else to take care of them. And Medicare facilities, well, our government tries really hard to take care of our elderly. They're not the best. And so it can be a very devastating situation. So I try to encourage individuals to sit down and talk with your parents. You can always share my story. That is fine. And say it happens. And we need to make a plan of when you're going to start sharing the finances again, because you don't want to have to be surprised and end up, my sister personally took care of my dad for the last 3 years of his life, and you just don't want to end up in the situation where there's just all of the money that they saved to take care of themselves when they were old is just not there anymore. It's their money, they earned it, they deserve to have that caretaking at the end of their life. It never was my money. I'd hoped for a little, but that's okay. It never was my money. It was my parents to take care of in their old age, and they didn't have it when it came time. So I encourage you, mine was a story of financial abuse. There are other types of the abuse that happens that are just as bad. Be careful when you hire someone to be in your home to take care of your parents, or in your parents' home to take care of them. Make sure you use a legitimate company. There are plenty of different stories about the types of abuse, and we need to respect that generation that has raised us. Thank you.
Thank you. Well said. This is one of the issues, to tackle any issue in a community, especially a difficult one, it takes a huge amount of collaboration, and certainly that is on full display today. And we do have several nonprofit and community-based partners here in the room as well. So thank you for being here. With that, and no further comments, we will take a vote. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Aye.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Aye.
Commissioner Geithner.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. That passes 5-0. Congratulations. Thank you. And we will take a brief recess for a photo.